Hello everyone, my name is Basti and I'm an independent trader with years of experience in the crypto markets. If you're looking for the latest information for daily chart analysis, and if you're looking for trading predictions as well as trading news, then you've come to the right place. Let's go. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Nice to see you here today. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and you'll be able to get updated information from Monday through Sunday, every single day, completely free. And also, as you can see on the screen, we have a project called Trade Mania. And once we reach the 2,000 followers, we're going to be revealing even more information regarding this project. So now let's go ahead and get started and look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, where we see that there is something very interesting. As you know, we've talked about this yellow line that we have here on this chart that comes from the all-time high that we have here, then where it turned into resistance in this area, then became support. And what's interesting now is that, as you can see, it has once again been tested as support for Bitcoin. We had this breakout here, then of course we went back down in the recent days, but we've used this line and we confirmed it as resistance, which now the questions, or support rather, sorry. And now the question is if it's going to remain that way, of course. So of course the question is, are we going to keep climbing back, or is this where we get retested and then continue to plunge lower into the price? One thing to keep in mind is today there is a holiday in the US, which means they're not going to be active in the market when the markets are supposed to open later today. And so that could mean either it's going to be a very calm Monday, or there's going to be a lot of volatility, because since there are less people trading, then there's more chances for the market to be influenced easily. Now, if we look at the 1 hour chart, we can see that at the moment we are currently retesting this white line, which is our now resistance line that comes from the previous weeks that we formed this line, and it was support for Bitcoin, now has become resistance. And the question is, of course, we are at the moment trying to overcome it. If not, if we are to continue to drop, then, and if we don't form a big W pattern or a double bottom, then that means we're definitely going to go back down to 36,165 US dollars. This line, of course, comes from this big support that we've already tested and formed a couple of weeks ago, where you can see here. So that is the worst case scenario, that we drop to this price at 36,000. The best case scenario is that we form a V formation that takes us back to our consolidation area here, and then we're able then to continue to climb in price. That of course is the case only if there aren't any more bad news coming in, which at the moment is almost feels unlikely. Of course, none of this matters, support, resistance, none of this chart analysis really matters. If there are bad news, the price of Bitcoin is going to drop regardless of what we have here. At the moment, there seems to be some news reports that Biden and Putin are going to be meeting at some point. They haven't really decided yet. But all in all, the question always remains, what's going to happen if Russia at the moment doesn't seem to be withdrawing any of their troops from the border they have with the Ukraine. So at the moment, the situation is very fragile. And of course, this could impact the traditional markets, which in turn would then impact the crypto markets as well. Then another thing, if we go and look at the fear and greed index, you can see today we are at 25 points. That is 2 points less than yesterday. So at the moment, of course, fear, extreme fear is where we are at right now. If we look at the yearly graph, we can see that we are back to the 30 and 20 point range that we've been in for months already. So that is also proof that at the moment there's a lot of fear, of course, in the market. Now, if we also look at this scale graph here, And this is the scale for the Fear and Greed Index price of Bitcoin. One thing that is interesting is that if you have a look here, we have this big rise that we had in the bull run that kept the price or the points at around 80, 90, 95 or whatever. But right now, when we had the consolidation phase, of course, we were going between even 19 to 30 points. Then we had another small rise. Then it seems at least that every time that we remain in this sort of consolidation or in this fear mode for a while, right after that there's a big push for the price. As you can see here, that happens at the moment we find ourselves since November of last year, the 25th of November. We've been in this fear phase of the market, and so it's the question now is, when do we get to see again the rise in the prices again? Now, if we go over the news, we have this headline from Cointelegraph that reads, Bitcoin inactive supply nears record as over 60% of Bitcoin stays unspent for at least 1 year. This is also a very important and a piece of good news, at least for the price of Bitcoin at the moment, that a lot of people are not interested, or actually there's not a whole lot of people interested in selling, even though the price of Bitcoin seems to be dropping. That means, of course, people are keeping their Bitcoin inactive in their wallet and just hodling for the future. That's also good news for the price of Bitcoin. Now let's move over to Ethereum and see how things are playing out on our hourly chart, or actually let's go to the 4-hour chart. And here we can see that the price bounced at $2,632. That is, of course, from this support area here at the bottom, which even on the live stream, which, by the way, thank you so much, guys. We had over 1,000 people watching yesterday in the live stream. That's really good, and thanks for your support. But as you can see, this orange line has once again become support for the price of Ethereum. And we've been using that as support ever since we went over it before, when it used to be resistance. Of course, you can see here in the past, it was a very strong resistance until we finally turned it into support. So that's important that remains a strong support for us. If we look at the hourly chart, we find resistance again at $2,815 US, which is this line here. And so it is important for the price of Bitcoin to go over this line and then hopefully continue the rise towards the upside. If Bitcoin, of course, doesn't go any lower and remains steady for today, then that could be the green light for that movement. Now, of course, there's a possibility on the 4-hour chart that we could form a double bottom. If that were the case, then that would be a very nice entry position for a long trade. Of course, that is with the thought in mind that if there are some escalations in the subject that we already know of, then of course that could bring the whole thing to a very low price. So now let's go and have a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, where we can see that we remain in this horizontal move. And so we're just basically going sideways at the moment. We're staying on the 42-43% line. I think that we will continue to climb relatively soon to 43-44%. That of course means that most likely the prices of the altcoins will continue to push lower, just because that's the way it happens. Every time the Bitcoin has a bit of a correction or drops, then the altcoins, at least when it's not altcoin season, then they also go that much lower, even more than Bitcoin does. So that of course means that at the moment it's not a good time to trade. I mentioned this already many times before. For that, there's other options. If anybody wants to trade, for example, gold is a good opportunity, and you can do that with Femex, and you can find the link in the description for Femex. And in fact, if we look at how gold is performing, we've had this massive move towards the upside, just about 7% in the last couple of weeks. So of course, at the moment there seems to be a push down. We might test this resistance or support line before we even go back to move towards the previous all-time high. So as you can see, a lot of people are moving their money, their cash, into safe havens like gold and precious metals. And so yeah, that is also something to keep in mind when it comes to investing and market situations like the one that we find ourselves in currently. Okay, so yeah, that is very much everything that I prepared for you guys this morning. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell so you always stay up to date with all the latest information that we provide. Also, check out the links in the description for the different partners that we have. And if that is everything for today, I would just say have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Basti. Bye bye.